Hey, welcome, my friends, to this week's captivating episode on Motivational Moments with Maria. I'm your host, Coach Maria, and as always, I am thrilled that you are joining in. And by the way, I just want to say thank you. Thank you again for the notes, the messages, the words of encouragement. You guys are so awesome. Now, I come here every week, and sometimes I skip a week to bring some moments of inspiration, motivation, some thoughts and ideas to help you on your journey of personal growth and personal development. Because I know that when we stop growing, we start dying. And baby, I'm not ready to go there yet. Now, we're going to do something different this week because I've invited one of my dear friends to the show because we're going to be, at the end of the show, I'm going to announce something that we're going to be doing together. But this week is a little different. I'm going to introduce one of my friends, and we're going to talk about her experience with coming to the United States as a child. And we have so many people entering our country right now, and I know that. And I want you to know what life is for them, the experience for them coming to our country is, and how we might be able to best support them. So I'm going to introduce my friend Monica Williams and say hi, Monica, to the gang.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
And Monica's doing great too. She's awesome. Now, we've known each other since we were in junior high school, and that's a long time. I mean, look at the wrinkles on our faces. So I've invited Monica to talk about what her experience was like coming to the United States. So, Monica, tell us about, because Monica's from Argentina, and I want her to share her story about coming to the US, what that was like for her, and how she persevered over the years to conform, to be accepted in this country. So, Monica, talk to us a little bit about how old were you when you came to the United States?
I was 5 years old, and my dad was already here because he was working at Volkswagen. So he went from Volkswagen Buenos Aires to Volkswagen San Francisco. And so my mom and my brother and I arrived. I'll never forget that day. It was a sunny, crisp day. And we get off the plane and we're like, where the hell are we? We don't know where we're at. We just knew we were somewhere. And then we saw my dad. It was scary. It was scary to start a new journey in a new country where we had no idea what the signs at the airport said, what people were saying to us. We were lost. So and from the day I got off that plane, that's when the struggle started.
That's
But
when your struggle started. So you were 5. So you were a lot younger than your brother, who was 14. And
right.
I know your dad decided to come to the United States for opportunities for advancement in your life. And uh, and I know it was a really difficult time in your life because here you are, a 5-year-old. None of you speak English. None of you at all speak English. So now you're pushed into this educational system. What was that like? Because we didn't have ESL in those days, did we?
No,
We
no.
didn't have assistants or teachers' assistants to guide us through
No.
the language. So, what was your experience like?
Well, I remember getting to school, and they put me in kindergarten, which I had already done in Argentina, but they put me in kindergarten when I arrived to this country. And it was very scary. I mean, nobody spoke Spanish, no one. And I got through by them pointing, like there's the cafeteria, there's the bathroom, there's your classroom. But I had no idea what was going on. I really didn't. And so it was tough. It was really hard. And they couldn't find anybody that spoke Spanish that could come and help me in the school system in San Francisco at that time. So I was
All right.
basically
So you were on your own, right? Is that so? So how did you learn the language?
well, when the teachers would speak, I would try to understand because of course in kindergarten you don't have to do anything that's brain surgery. So, you know, they would point, there's your coloring book, there's your crayons. So that part wasn't bad. It was just getting through lunch, getting through recess, and nobody wanted to talk to me. No one. They just looked at me like I was an alien.
I was just gonna that's a great word because I was just gonna say you felt somewhat alienated in
right,
that environment. Right.
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 Yeah. Nobody would talk
And
to me.
no one would talk to you.
No.
You're alone by yourself. Now, how did your brother, who was 14, because now he's immersed in junior high, I would imagine,
Right.
and how was that for him?
Worse. He was
Okay.
really bullied. It was hard. It was really hard for him. And to this day, he's still very, very shy. He has not outgrown that at all. Everybody picked on him badly. So, and he's
Hmm.
never gotten over that trauma, but yeah, it was hard. I remember that my mom, we had an apartment in San Francisco, and she would look down on the playground, and she would see me on the playground, and she would wave, and I would wave back. But yeah, it was challenging. I mean, I went from being a child in Argentina to having become an adult at 5 when I got to this country.
And so, what I know, because we've talked about this before when we sharing coffee or a cocktail now and then, you had to navigate through all of the challenges coming to the US, but also you had to navigate for your parents as well, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Because when we got to this apartment in San Francisco, so they had, we had to get our PG&E and telephone, and so none of us knew what to do. And when you would call companies back in those days, they didn't have somebody that put you through on somebody in Spanish like they do now. So I made it my journey to learn English as fast as I could, because I knew that I had to navigate for my parents and my brother.
Got it. And tell me, how did you do that? I mean, because that, people say, oh, you can't learn another language, but how did you do that? I mean, because you're 5 years old, and oh, by the way, I noticed that you don't have an accent. And I know other people that have been in this country a long time and they have the accent and they've come at a very young age. How is it that you were able to make that? I mean, like I said, you don't know that you're Spanish until you can speak Spanish until you actually do. How
Yeah.
did you do that?
Um, I think even to this day, you hear somebody speaking with an accent and they pretend like they don't understand you. Because my cousin has an accent, and she
Hmm.
came when she was 25, and people will go, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said, when they did. So anyway, that really irritates me when people do that. But I just knew that the I had to learn not only English, but I had to make sure that I didn't have an accent, because I felt that when I was on the playground or the cafeteria, if they would even hear the slightest hint of an accent, then I was going to get bullied. I was going to get ignored, and the teachers were going to just kind of, not pay any attention. So I had to make sure that as a child, I had to make sure that when I spoke, I had no accent, and it was not an easy task.
Right. Now, you mentioned the word bullying and how were you bullied in school as an outsider coming in?
Well, because nobody spoke to me, like I said, nobody spoke to me, and everybody just looked at me like, like I said, I was like an alien. No, so that's when I decided. I was very shy, so I said, okay, I'm gonna have to come out of my shell, because I am not gonna survive this. But like I said, kindergarten was easy, no biggie. So then I decided to start talking to some of the girls. And so I made a couple of friends, and they helped me a lot with my English. They really did.
Oh,
They were there for me. So
okay.
So that was
Beautiful.
good for me to do that. So at lunchtime, I would sit with the only two friends I made, which were still friends, believe it or not. And they would help me. This is how you say this is how you say that. And then when I went to first grade, now that was a challenge because it wasn't just the coloring and the pencil, that was tough. So I repeated grades quite a few times. So
Okay,
when
so
I was older than anybody.
yeah, well, that's okay. You graduated older, but the fact is you graduated. So how long did it take you to feel comfortable with the English language? Because you do have a command of the English language now. I mean, I know our grammar's not perfect 100% of the time, but you
Yeah,
speak English really well. I mean, how long did it take you from the time you were 5 to what? When did you feel comfortable?
I'd say it took me a whole year.
Only 1 year.
I think so.
Okay.
As a child, you can learn another language so easily, even though people say you can't, but yes, you can. If I
Right.
can do
Sí
it,
se puede, right? Sí se puede.
se puede.
Yes.
If I
Se
can do
puede.
it, anybody can do it. That's
Right.
how.
And I want to stop there for a minute because this is just one of the lessons that we talk about in skill development and in personal growth and personal development that if you set your mind to something, now look, he this woman, well, actually, this child came to this country and her purpose was so strong, her big why, if you will, and we talk about that. If I'm going to make it here, I cannot I cannot just live in my own world. I'm going to have to put myself out there. And so it's no
Yeah.
different in our lives, our everyday lives, right? When we want to do something, we have to go do the work. And obviously, Monica, you did the work, right?
I
Because
do.
you just acclimated. Go ahead.
I didn't know I had to do the work. I had no clue. I was just basically I was in survival mode. That was my journey, was just to be in survival mode so that I could get through class, I could get through recess, I could get through cafeteria time. Uh, so that I didn't know that that was going to be my journey, but it was my journey. And then
It
I had
was
to,
your journey. Go ahead.
yeah, I had to help my parents navigate through things. Um, my dad knew a little more than any of us. So, but he couldn't teach us because we spoke Spanish at home because that was the only thing we were comfortable with. So that was my primary language was Spanish. And then
Right.
my mother made it her mission that we would always speak Spanish, always, because we would go home to visit family. Well, we couldn't go very often because it's so expensive, but we would go and visit family like every 5 years or so. And she
Mhm.
wanted us to make sure that we could speak to the family um, and not just be, I know people that have come to this country where they wanted their kids to only speak English. And then
Mhm.
right now, they hardly know how to speak Spanish, very little.
Right.
So
No, and you bring up that's an excellent point because I knew when I was growing up. Okay, so I have 6 brothers and sisters, or did, and when we were growing up, Spanish was the primary language in our household too. Because my
yeah,
mom came to this country at 14, and yes, she could speak English, but not that well. And so when my older brothers, went to school in kindergarten, same experience. They didn't understand anything. They they were told, you have to learn to speak English. So from that moment on, honestly, from that moment on, when my 2 oldest brothers went to kindergarten, my mother said, okay, we have to learn to speak English. We, this is, we are here. You must learn to speak English. And like you, we all had to help our mother navigate through, the United States English language channel, if you will,
yes.
because she only graduated from 6th grade. And so she didn't know how to really read or write. And so all of us, took on some responsibility as young children. So now I have to bring this up because I love you, but I know you're a rather fair Latina woman. You're a rather fair looking Latina woman, right? You don't have the colorism that some of us do. So was that ever problematic for you? And were people surprised when you opened your mouth and you could speak Spanish?
Yes, many times. Most people thought I was either Swedish or German, but I'm Italian and I'm also Spanish. But my mom, my mom's mom and dad were very light, but some of the kids got the great Italian color, which I wish I had, and then my mom did not. And my dad was Spanish and French, and he was very, very fair. So when I speak Spanish, people are like, "What? You should be
They're
speaking
always shocked.
what? You
Yeah.
should be speaking
What?
something else." So yeah. So and that's been a challenge too. Um, I've encountered many people in my life that when they find out that I'm an immigrant, they treat me different. It's a,
Hmm. Hmm.
they don't treat
Hmm.
me like all of a sudden I'm not on their same level. I'm
Right.
an immigrant who crossed the river to come over, which I did not. But it's
Right.
amazing people treat you when they find out that you're an immigrant. They
Hmm.
treat you totally different. Some don't.
Okay.
Gonna
Some
judge.
don't, some do. Right. And I can expect, I mean, as we go through our lives, there are events that occurred that, wow, people of color do experience life a little differently, don't
Yeah,
they?
yes, they
Or
do.
people that immigrants that come over here, they do. People
Yes,
start
they
to
do.
judge them. You know, one of the devils in our life is judgment, right?
Absolutely.
And gossip and yeah. So, but I want to ask you this. Now, you've been in the country a long time, obviously, because we're up there in the season of our lives. And I, I just want you to say to some people, it's like, look, if you see someone that is new to this country, that is struggling, what could we do to help them navigate through the challenges they're going to experience? Now, for me, I'm doing some mentoring with some junior high and high school students, which is super. And but what would you say? What are some things that you wish people would have done for you?
Well, and I still do this to this day. If I'm somewhere at the bank, wherever, and I see that the person is struggling to explain what they want, the first thing I say is, "Te puedo ayudar? Can I help you?"
Mhm.
And I still do it every day. I do this because I know how it feels to have people ignore you, think that you're really stupid, or that you're retarded. I've been asked if I was retarded before.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness, that is like such a harsh word.
I know.
Such a
So
harsh word.
it is. So to this
It's
day, I still walk up to people and say, "Te puedo ayudar con algo?" And they just look at me like, "Oh my God, yes, thank you." Even to
yes, exactly.
order, a sandwich or something, because I know what it's like. So for me, I've always been a person that I gravitate to people that are immigrants. I really do,
Hmm.
because I feel it's my mission, even to people that don't speak English, to people that I was at the airport. These people were speaking Arabic, and I was trying to help them navigate to the signs in Argentina, even though now they have them all in English, but they didn't understand that either. So I was asking them, where are you going? Let me see your passport. So I do that. I try to do that every single day, is reach out to someone that needs help. Don't just ignore them. Don't walk past them. If you can help an immigrant, please do. Because I remember the moments when people would just pass, walk right past us, or say to me, "Why doesn't your mother speak English? She's been in this country." And it really hurts. It really
Hmm.
hurts. My mother went to third grade. So
Yeah.
her,
Yeah, it was a different time, a different generation, and their lives are very different. But what I really honor and respect about you, and I love you dearly, you know that, is that you persevered. No matter what happens, you persevered. So your level of resilience, and I know all the struggles that you've had in your life, you were resilient, and that just is a great segue into our conversation. And I really want you all to listen to this. Monica and I have decided that we're going to cross channels, and we're going to be doing our weekly podcast in Spanish, because we believe that the more we can empower others, that the better we can serve our entire universe. So, Monica, well, how do you feel about this, that we're going to be doing this?
I think it's great. I think it's great. I think we need to empower people. Now I see, you know, 20, 30-year olds that they know how to speak English, they have an accent, and they kind of hold back, on what they're trying to say. And, I just think it's so necessary that we empower these people to just speak up. I know I did. I mean, my English wasn't perfect, but I had to do so much I actually became an adult at 6,
Yes.
and,
Yes,
and
you did.
my family wasn't rich. We were poor. We were poor in Argentina. We were poor here. It wasn't like, oh, we have all this money. So that was not the situation. My dad, we worked paycheck to paycheck. And my mom could not go out and work because she didn't speak the language. And I was 6 years old. My brother was 15. So
Yeah.
it was a struggle. It was a
It
huge
was a
struggle.
struggle, but you managed, and you can stand here now. You can stand here and say, "Hey, we're here to help people, to empower people, to believe they have the capabilities, and with some support, like we're going to be doing on our Spanish podcast, there'll be some tools and some activities that will give you to help you get through the challenges. And we're here to help. We are here to help. Monica, what message would you like to leave today? Because I really appreciate you coming on and having this discussion, because I think sometimes our voices are not heard, and your voice needed to be heard.
Absolutely. Well, when Maria first told me about this, I thought it was a great idea because we can just keep all this to ourselves, but I don't want to do this. She doesn't want to do this. And we're hoping that you tune in and listen to what we have to say because we are older. And so we want to empower you to become the person you can be, and don't shy away from it. Absolutely not.
Right,
Live in,
right, right,
live,
right.
live in the moment and enjoy it. And you'll be surprised how good you can do.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, but I want to just go back for one moment. This is important because this is it was a transformation that I saw in you. I observed in you, because I know, you've always been given to everyone else. And then you put your flag in the ground one day and say, you know what? I am going to really work on developing myself and becoming the best I can be. And you've done that, and I'm so proud of you, right? You've done that. You just said, hey, I'll take care of myself. I have different beliefs about myself now. What
Yeah.
changed?
What changed? You.
Oh,
You
no, no,
empowered me. I'm serious. You are the person that motivated me. You've been my mentor. You've been there for me through the good times, the bad times. And you are the person that empowered me to be who I am today. You really
oh,
are.
wow. I wasn't expecting that. And
True.
I'm
It's
just like
true.
honored, and I'm just like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And I'm glad, because if we can touch even, and I'm going to get emotional now, if we can touch even one person's life
Yes.
while we're here,
Yes.
it's so worth it.
I
So
agree.
I want to tell you that we're going to do this. It's going to be good. We're going to share our message out with others. We are wisdom warriors, and we have a lot to share with you about life, and how you can be, do, and have more in your life. Because we know deep down inside that there's something inside of you that really wants to come out. So don't forget everything and run, because fear is not going to get in your way. We're going to help you overcome that. So,
Yes.
Monica, thank you for being with us
Well,
today.
thank you
And
for
to
having me.
you, all my friends. And mis amigas y amigos, I'm going to tell you that we're going to be doing this. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to do a little bit in Spanish, a little bit in English. But I want you to do something. I want you to share this message with your friends, your family, someone that needs to hear this message. I know you know someone that does. So share this with them. And until next week, my friends, stay focused, stay positive, always have fun. And no matter what you choose to be, do, or have, do it with excitement and passion. Love you guys. Thanks for coming on.
Bye-bye. Nice meeting you.